Welcome back to the news at 10. The former military President General Ibrahim Babangida is insisting that the country needs a new president who must be visionary, passionate, transparent and must serve as a role model. General Babangida was speaking on Channels Television's Roadmap 2019 program with Ladi Akeredoluwale.
What I want to see is a young man that has what I will call 4-in-1 or 5-in-1. One man, young man, but he is 5-in-1. What do I mean? I want to see a young man who, through reading, studying, he has the vision of a man called Awolo. I want to see a young man who has the charisma of a man called Sadona of Sokoto Amadou Bello. I want to see a young man who had the eloquence and educational prowess of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. And I want to see a young man who has convictions like General Obasanjo. If we have this 4-in-1, I think we will be able to do it.
And you see there police in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, dispersing protesting members of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria following their violent confrontation with police officers in Maitama area of the nation's capital. The group, also known as the Shiite Movement, has been demanding for the release of their leader, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaki, who has been in detention since December 2016. But today's protests turned violent and the police had to disperse them with tear gas and water cannons while they fought back, throwing stones. Residents and commuters along the Lagos-Abeokuta road in Ogun State may now heave a sigh of relief as the state government has mobilized contractors to the site for the speedy completion of the rehabilitation work. The Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosun, while inspecting the over 50-kilometer road and flyovers in the state, says the projects will be completed soon and ready for commissioning by May the 29th. And the continuous voter registration exercise is already winding down in many states across the country, but not without several complaints from some persons who are yet to register and others who believe the time frame set aside for the registration is too short. Voters in Osun State, for instance, are calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission to extend the exercise, which ended today, while those in Ekiti State, including the state governor Ayodele Fayose, are worried that many people may have been disenfranchised. The U.S. Consul General to Nigeria, Mr. John Bray, wants Nigeria to show greater commitment towards providing a sustainable and conducive environment for foreign investment. Mr. Bray was speaking during a recent visit to Belema Oil in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, where he commended the work done so far by the oil company in the area of developing communities and empowering young people in the Niger Delta.
The headquarters of Belema Oil in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, is the venue for an interactive meeting between the management of the company and the United States Consul General John Bray and his team. This is the first time the U.S. envoy is visiting the oil company, and he is keen on checking out their operations in the Niger Delta.
The support the Chevron is actually giving to us.
That is what the founder and president of Belema Oil begins to explain in his presentation.
In Rivers State, we have 5 assets. The 5 assets, we have the Robert Kelly field, we have the Idama field, we have the Inda field, and we have the Belema North field.
And then it's time to look around the inside of his area, as well as the project sites of the oil company.
We empower a lot of youth in the Niger Delta, predominantly within Port Harcourt and all that. And we're also going to try our best by educating the youth, some of them doing business with us. Listen, the best way to build in a great state, in a great region, is to encourage fellowship. And you cannot encourage fellowship if there's violence.
Governments need to provide incentives to the investor. They need to make it easier to invest. Part of that is also providing, investors need security. They want to ensure that the people that they train and the equipment that they put here is taken care of.
The day's meeting ends with a conversation with the state governor and a photo shoot, as the oil company promises to partner with the River State government to attract training and development to the local communities of the Niger Delta. Emmanuel Ire, Channels Television News.
The transformation of aviation businesses in Africa will require countries to maintain global safety standards as well as provide modern infrastructure that's user-friendly. Now, that's coming from the Secretary to the State Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, when he declared open the 59th Airports Council International Africa Conference here in Lagos with the theme Business Transformation for Sustainable Development of African Airports. The conference has in attendance over 350 delegates from 42 countries who are member states of the ACI.
It's the 59th Airport Council International Africa Board Meetings and Regional Conference holding in Lagos. Here, top managers of terminals from across the continent gather to compare notes. Data from ACI shows that non-aeronautical revenues in African airports are well below the global average of 40%, so changing strategies to drive profit is now key.
The evolving nature of airport management demands a transformation of our airports, who now mostly serve as public service providers and not a commercial enterprise that are efficiently managed to generate more revenues and subsequently declare profits.
On the home front, the Minister of State for Aviation describes Nigeria's efforts at improving infrastructure, while the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who is a special guest of honor, insists profit-making must go along with safety standards.
In order to transform aviation business in Africa, countries would be expected to, 1, continue to attain and maintain global safety standards, 2, strive to achieve competitiveness and user-friendliness, 3, install infrastructure and navigational aids to maximize aircraft utilization for passenger and cargo movement.
The government is implementing a robust roadmap which involves infrastructural upgrade, provision of new critical infrastructure, and regulatory reforms.
For the aviation global body, the International Civil Aviation Organization, airport investments cannot be done in the absence of regulations.
States can deliver tremendous support to airport operators looking for investments by taking pragmatic measures to realize transparent, stable, and predictable regulatory climate, whether for direct investments, business reform, private finance initiatives, or public-private partnerships.
Airports Council International is the only global trade representative of the world's airport authorities. Established in 1991, ACI represents airports' interests with government and international organizations, develops standards and recommends practices for airports.
Pioneer Brewing Company, Nigerian Breweries, is saying thank you to key marketers and distributors in the country with its 2018 Annual Distributors Awards. The event, tagged Winning More Together, had in attendance the executive management and members of staff who showed appreciation to men and women they call stars.
Hard work is good, but it's even better when rewarded. And what better way to appreciate the people who have helped you achieve success than with this elegant event? For Nigerian breweries, appreciation goes to key distributors and transporters who have diligently ensured all-year supply of products to customers.
I thank you for standing next to us for generations. I hear some of you have been the sons or the grandsons working together with Nigerian breweries for many generations, and even today, some of you are passing the testimony to your sons. It's amazing and it's beautiful.
One after the other, the recipients are announced and awarded gifts such as trucks, vans, generators, hundreds of cartons of products and more. But just before the biggest winner of the night is unveiled, a raffle is drawn, and this lucky winner gets a car.
Number one, nothing else.
And the most anticipated moment arrives, the crowning of a national champion, an award that comes with a 10-pallet truck and a coveted trophy.
Nigerian Breweries is a fantastic company. It is a company that makes you feel that you belong to whatever they are doing.
This is a relationship we have built over the last 72 years. And so, every year, because of this relationship, we outperform ourselves, and you see our beautiful performance.
Nigerian Breweries says it is using this event to show that winning together also means celebrating together.
All right, now let's take a look at some business news. Here's Kayode Okikiolu.
You first. First Bank.
Thank you, Ijema, and welcome to Business News. We begin in Washington, D.C. tonight, where the week-long spring meetings of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund begins today. Now, the meetings has on top of a list key issues such as tracking corruption, international financial flows, and investment efficiency in sub-Saharan Africa. Also on the agenda of the finance ministers, central bankers and policymakers are seminars around East Africa Monetary Union, chasing flexible inflation, gender divide, blockchain, and digital economy for Africa. Nigeria's finance minister, Mrs. Kemi Adeosu, and the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele are among the country's delegation at this year's event, as Nigeria looks to conclude critical bilateral deals, such as the power sector investment pledge of more than $500 million by the World Bank. The release of the latest World Economic Outlook report kicks off formally tomorrow, Tuesday, highlighting the current macroeconomic and financial status of the global economy with forecasts from the World Bank and the IMF team. The Nigerian Stock Exchange today migrated 4 listed companies to its premium board following the satisfaction of post-listing compliance status by the companies. The migrated firms include Access Bank, Lafarge Africa, Seplat, and UBA. While explaining the benefits of the initiative, the Chief Executive, Mr. Oscar Nyema, says the elevated companies have been positioned for global visibility. And the Nigerian equity market opened the week on a negative note as the key benchmark index shed 0.97%. Here's Emana Amawe with the transaction summary.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The Nigerian equities market starts the third week of April with a 0.97% decline, with transaction turnover down to less than 200 million ordinary shares. Traders attribute the market's positive close to gains posted by Seplat and Nestle. As Seplat, UBA and Access Bank and Lafarge Africa migrated from the main board of the exchange to the premium board. In the meantime, investors' interest continues to expand on the shares of O&O, which grew 9.42% today as the company's share price rallied about 25% since its technical suspension was lifted last week. And on the flip side, UAC Properties led the day's losers with a 7.86% drop, followed by Double One PLC. Investors' appetite for stocks remains strong on the banking equities as volume tops double-digit on GT Bank, UBA, Zenith, Sterling and Fidelity. And those are the day's trading figures. I'm Emana Amawe.
Thank you, Emana. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average jumped some 200 basis points on Monday, but the reverse was the case in Europe, Asia, and Africa. Let's now show you some of the traded figures of the day. And that's business news. Many thanks for watching. It's now back to you, Ijama.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Coyote. Still ahead on the news at 10, former world number 1 Novak Djokovic returns to action with a straight-set victory over Dusan Lajovic in the opening round of the Monte Carlo Masters. That's on Sports News. Please stay with us.